Lucha-masks.com, in partnership with Mask Republic, give you personal protective masks to keep you lucha strong in the fight versus COVID-19. With world-class luchadors Blue Demon Jr., the Lucha Brothers, LA Park, Ultimo Dragon, Cain Velasquez, Konnan, and so much more. Head to lucha-masks.com and you too can become a masked warrior. Lucha-masks.com, powered by Pro Wrestling Revolution.
You are listening to the Lucha Central Podcast Network. And now, luchacentral.com presents Straight Out of the Bodega with King Fat Boy Papo Esco.
From the wrestling world to the podcast world, it's Straight Out of the Bodega with your host,
the King Fat Boy Papo Esco.
It is Thursday, September 24th, and you have arrived. Pulled up. Welcome to another edition of Straight Out of the Bodega. I am your master of ceremonies, the bully from the bodega, the lucha thug, the one-man lucha gang, El Rey Gordo himself, the King Fat Boy Papo Esco. And as always, we're going to take you on this ride. A ride through the blocks, back alleys, and street corners of the bodega. We're going to give you everything you need that's pro wrestling and entertainment. I'm ready. You better be ready. So take a seat, pour up your favorite drink, and let's ride.
Paul Ellering and Animal right now.
All right, and here we are, Animal and Paul and Animal. No doubt what you folks did to Sting, just unreal, unbelievable. Will you sign a match now? Will you take on Lex Luger and Sting in a tag team match?
Don't take it anywhere! Dusty Rhodes, first things first. Don't you come out here and show the intelligence of anybody calling us a backstabber. Your problem is you care too much. We don't care about nothing. You're off helping poor kids. We don't care. You took money out of our pockets. Don't you call us nothing. As far as we're concerned, you just dropped dead. Now Sting, Lex Luger. Yeah, you're in great shape, Sting. You're going against Barry Windham for the U.S. title. Lex Luger's going against the world champion, Ric Flair. He's got to be in great shape, too. Those are two single matches. What you gotta do is you gotta get ready for the Road Warriors. You see, as a tag team, we're in a class all by ourselves. Now, Bob Kyle, I heard their interview. They're out there saying they got a dark side. They found a dark side to them. They saw all that the Road Warriors could dish out. We have always had a dark side in us. We have never had to fight it. It has been bred in us. We are violent. We like it. Don't make threats. You can't back up. You want to get in and relax? You better be in the best shape of your life.
All of us here at Straight Out of the Bodega want to send our deepest condolences to the family, friends, and fans of Mr. Joseph Laurinaitis, known all around the world as Road Warrior Animal, one half of arguably one of the greatest tag teams of all time, the Road Warriors, along with his partner Road Warrior Hawk, rest in peace. I mean, guys, in a time where there were tag teams like the Rock and Roll Express, the Midnight Express, the Fantastics, the Fabulous Freebirds, Arn and Tully of the Horsemen, here come these two big, burly, badass dudes from Chicago. Crazy haircuts, crazy face paint, shoulder pads with steel spikes coming out of them, muscles everywhere. When they got in the ring, they weren't trying to wrestle you. They were trying to beat you to death. And they definitely struck fear inside the ring and outside the ring. I mean, when you talk about a Hall of Fame career, the Road Warrior name, Hawk and Animal, transcended professional wrestling, much like The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Undertaker, Hulk Hogan, guys like that, where you have non-wrestling fans who don't know much about professional wrestling, but they do know the name, the Road Warriors, Hawk and Animal. That should tell you right there of the storybook career that both of those guys shared, and we are very saddened to learn that at the age of 60, Road Warrior Animal has passed on. We again want to send our condolences. Our thoughts and our prayers are with the family, and we just want to say, Road Warrior Animal, Godspeed. We got a great show for you today. Pulling up to straight out of the bodega for a sit down, we got a Chicago native American luchador. This guy started his path to professional wrestling and training in traditional lucha libre, and now he's ripping and running throughout the United States and Mexico, gaining ground. He's signed and is on the current roster of Court Bauer's Major League Wrestling, and you know they got the restart, so this dude is getting ready to get it popping once again. I'm talking about my boy, the bass god, Charlie Santos himself. Gringo Loco is on the podcast, man. We cannot wait for you to hear this interview, and we're going to get into it. But before we do that, you know we got to take you to the golden voice, the first lady of the Lucha Central Podcast Network. I'm talking about my girl and yours, Denise Salcedo, with Lucha Central.
Hey everyone, it's Denise Salcedo here in Lucha Central with a reminder of where and when to catch all of the great network content this week. Get the full lineup and listen to all of our shows in the podcast network section of luchacentral.com. Monday, Lucha Libre Figures and Facts returns with a brand new episode. Find the video version of each episode on the Lucha Central YouTube page at luchacentral.com or listen on your favorite podcast platform. On Tuesdays, Mass Mats and Mayhem takes you inside the world of Lucha Underground as they take you weekly through the series with the benefit of hindsight and the benefit of special guests from the groundbreaking series. Check out the premiere video stream every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern on the Lucha Central YouTube channel and at luchacentral.com. Then listen to it on your favorite podcast platform every Wednesday. Tuesday nights live, it's Wrestle Boss, where Fabi Chulo talks MMA and pro wrestling with special guests and listener call-ins. Visit WrestleBossLive.com Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific to listen live or call in with questions or download the show on podcast platforms on Wednesdays. Wednesday nights live on Facebook, it's Spanish show La Mesa de los Margaros, giving you both the news and the chisme from around the lucha world. Special guests and a whole lot of fun make it one of the most talked about shows in Mexico. Thursdays, it's Straight Out of the Bodega with Papo Esco and PWR promoter Gabriel Ramirez, as they have guests from throughout the wrestling world pull up to give an inside look into their careers. From indie standouts to television superstars, each week brings a new name and perspective. On Friday, it's your double dose of Lucha Central Weekly podcast, one in English y el otro en español. Lucha Central Weekly is where you'll find all the top stories of the week, both inside and out of the ring from Mexico and anywhere luchadores are in action across the globe. Be sure to subscribe and follow all your favorite Lucha Central Network series on your favorite podcast platforms, either by their own series name or subscribe to the Lucha Central Podcast Network show pages to get all of the shows in one easy feed. And please consider giving a rating to help more fans find the shows that you love. For now, this is Denise Salcedo signing off from Lucha Central. Have a great week.
And as always, man, it's interview time. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Straight Out of the Bodega. I am your master of ceremonies, the King, Fat Boy Papa Wesco, and we got a great show, great interview today. But before we get to that, you know I got to introduce my boy, got to introduce my brother, man, my mentor, owner and operator of Pro Wrestling Revolution, owner and operator of Pro Wrestling Revolution Training Academy, owner and operator of the Lucha face covers that are sweeping the nation, www.lucha-masks.com. I'm talking about Gabe Ramirez. What's going on, man?
Oh, man, what up, bro? What's going on?
Yeah.
How are you, dude?
I'm good.
Hope you're staying safe and you're
We
not
are.
breathing in all that nasty smoke, man. I mean, up here in California, man, we COVID's one thing for all of us, but geez, man, it's like, I know I was close to, you know more than anything because you were helping me. I was close to evacuating, the smoke, the fire.
It was a troublesome time.
Dude, it's like I had to carry my dog to another building.
Yep.
And then, and right now the fire is still like 98% contained. So
scary,
I
dude.
still get emails and texts telling me that 2% that I still need to be on standby. So that's scary, man. So it's just the most obscene, crazy, unexplainable nightmare of a year, but at least I got to look forward to these podcasts every week.
So,
yep.
Look, we get to look forward to another one because today we got a great show.
Best one ever.
Just like I say, best one ever. I like to think that we have our ups and downs.
Best
I think this one's going to be an up one.
Who we got?
On the show today, we have a luchador. He has been ripping and running around, I would say, the globe, man. He's done a lot of things. I'm talking about the bass god, Gringo Loco. What's going on, brother?
Man, did you call him the bass god?
Oh, yeah, he calls himself the bass god.
No manches.
We're going to get into that. We're going to get into that. So I want to get...
let's do it, man. It's good stuff.
I see we got a Spanish speaker.
So I want to get right into it, man. I want to know, you are a luchador. This isn't pro wrestling, American style pro wrestling. You got into lucha right away, man. Was lucha a love of yours before you even started? And how did you get started in lucha libre?
Actually, man, it was the complete opposite. I was watching WWF Superstars on Saturday morning and watching the squash matches with the red, white, and blue ropes and just stunners and pedigrees and tombstones and choke slams. I'm like, what is this? This is amazing. And I was like, one day I'm going to be able to get into a ring somehow, some way. I'm not sure how it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. And it just so happens that the first gym that I set foot in was a Lucha Libre Mexicana gym in Chicago. So that's the story on that. And from there on, I was like, I want to be like the most authentic white luchador that there's ever been. And I think it's been...
He said the most authentic white luchador.
Pretty successful so
That's
far.
like saying Taco Bell is authentic, bro. Come on now.
So when you started, who was your trainer, and what was the training like to begin with? I mean, I know for us how strenuous it could be. You know, we definitely want to make sure that we produce the top of the top as far as lucha talent when it comes to Pro Wrestling Revolution Training Academy. And I would imagine that other, companies strive to do the same. So talk to me about your training in the beginning. Who trained you and what was it like? How strenuous was it for you?
Yeah, I mean, walking into the gym the first time, I couldn't believe how much stuff they were doing. It was a group called the Escobedo brothers, Martin and Rudy, and they were some of the toughest dudes I've ever met. Like until now, I walked in and before we even get into the ring to train anything, it was an hour of craziness outside, like squatting and carrying people like fireman style, a mile around the block and. Just a million things, and then we were allowed to get in the ring, and then that's when the real craziness started. I remember seeing my first real Lucha Libre spot and how fluid and how smooth it was. I was like, man,
right on.
One day I have to make it look like that. That was the coolest thing I'd ever seen up until that point in my life. And, I mean, that's pretty much
I got you. Now, you also list Sky there as a trainer, right?
Possible, Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he came in late in my career, but, I mean, he taught us so many new and innovative things, there were so many people in the line for training that had so much experience, and he would pop all of us. He would do something in the ring, and we would all be like, yo, what the hell was that? He has something special when he can bring that out of somebody who has so much talent as myself or other people that were there. I mean, Mustafa Ali was there that day when we popped. Shima Zion was there when we popped. It was just it was stuff.
Now, how long did you train with him for? Because I know
he was one of my
Mexican luchadores. If they have a seminar for 10 minutes, they'll say, I trained that guy. So that list can be an immense amount of people that they said they trained. But how long did you train under the Skyder tree?
So he was actually in Chicago. He had a long run here. I would say about 7 to 8 months straight, and then a couple months here and there when he would come back. But there was a long stretch where he was here 2 times a week. I didn't miss any classes. I wouldn't dare to miss any Skydick classes. But it was just unbelievable being in the same training session as him because he's always coming up with something new. You don't really find that often in wrestling.
Yeah, we had Skydick.
This guy has so many other things
our
that
academy.
people haven't even dreamed of seeing yet.
And it's funny because I don't know about you guys, but we felt the same way. We were like, what the hell did he just do? Can you do that again?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he'd do it, and, he's much older, and he would still do these things, and we're like, what? Slow down. How did you flip, catch a leg, and the wrist, and the head, wrap it around, roll them through, stand up, what the? But the thing is that he never named his moves. They were all Sky the Specials. We're like, no, dude, what do you call that?
No,
oh, no, la arriba, la baja, I'm like, oh, dude. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, we got to help us out here. So we actually ended up naming our moves on our own because there was no name for them. There was nothing, and it's insane the amount of stuff that man can teach. So now, when you were learning under his tree, did you have any other trainers in between that, lucha wise, or how did that work for you?
Well, I mean, the luchador that recently discussed in class, Discovery, he was there all the time as well. He's an ex-play guy. He had a little run in WWF as well. Discovery was there, and then from then on, everybody pretty much went on their own separate ways, and I had to take over the class. And I actually kind of enjoyed being a trainer, honestly. I didn't think I was going to, but I actually took over the class when there was nobody else left, and that group kind of grew to what it grew into now, which is a pretty good group of guys.
One of the things I couldn't see was your debut. When was your debut? Was it somewhere like in 2004 or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely in Chicago, and it was in like this really rinky-dink gymnasium. And there was a lot of names on the show actually, like CM Punk and
Oh wow,
just like Ace Steel and
now did you happen to run into
I don't know if you know those guys
Pierce,
from
or
the
did
West,
Adam Pierce already move out here? Yeah,
I think he was already out there.
Those guys were.
It doesn't ring a bell. I don't.
Those guys
so,
definitely had a huge impact in that
yeah.
area. Huge. You know, Dan Dominion and Ace Steel and obviously CM Punk and those guys. But if you were lucha trained, how did you end up on this Americanized stud of a card? How did lucha fall into that? Well, when you have CM Punk, Dan Dominion, and Ace Steel, and all that stuff, how did you end up as a luchador on an American card?
Oh yeah. Oh, so the guy, that's a funny story. The guy that rented the ring to that show was the lucha connection to all the rings in Chicago at that time. So I actually just went to see what an American show was going to be like, and I was on the opening match of the card. So that's how that works.
It's the same everywhere. You know, everybody rents one ring, and everybody rents the talent and the ring crew and stuff, and that's totally cool. I guess it's a big part of how we do business. I guess, you know what I mean. But how did you fit into the Americanized crowd? Because I mean, obviously, American fans, they see lucha. Unless you're doing stuff like Caristico and stuff, they're not going to really pop. They're not going to really understand and love the spots that a Sky they would teach. Did you have a lucha match, or did you have an American guy who was 16 years old with a sock over his head?
Yeah, no, I definitely had to figure out what American wrestling was by the seat of my pants. I had to figure out
it is.
Yeah,
it is the wrong way. It is.
I thought it was the wrong way to do things. So I was out of my element for sure. And I just had to figure it out, man. It was very nerve-wracking for sure. I didn't know what the hell was going on.
That is awesome, dude, because, you learn the American style, and you learn it from the opposite way of lucha. So for you, being an American guy, learning lucha and just getting so in-depth in lucha, having to go wrestle in American style and not knowing what the fucking American style is, that's an American. That's ironic. That's crazy, man. Hey, so talk to me about, so you did do some time in Mexico, right? You found your way towards Mexico. What was that like for an American guy and a white guy at that, coming into these locker rooms? Because I know for me, dude, I know what I see, if you don't speak Spanish that well, they're gonna kind of fave you a little bit by faking like they don't speak English, or they might not receive you well at first. It's kind of like a standoffish kind of thing. How did you deal with that when you first got into actual working lucha promotion?
Oh my God! Especially going down to Mexico City, man, it was one of the toughest things I've ever had to go through. You don't know what's going on, but you know that you love the sport, so you're trying to figure out everything very quickly. You're trying to learn the language. You're trying to learn, etiquette. You're trying to figure out what the right thing and the wrong thing to do is and stuff. And, it's and then you'll hear everybody laughing and you hope it's not at you. So you really try to force yourself to learn the language and just the way of the land and everything. It was really, it was 4.5 years of just stressful learning. And I just learned somehow by being around it every day in Mexico City. You know what I mean? But yeah, there's a lot of egos going on in Mexico. You just have to
no. There's no egos in lucha or wrestling. Now you say Mexico City. So, are you able to describe, where, were you under, the learning tree of Colombo or Ultimo Guerrero, or where exactly did you train in Mexico?
Yeah, so my very, very first time, had I realized like what type of class I was in, I would have stayed there forever. I was in the Guerrero class of CMLL. Yeah,
wow.
Dude, but I didn't know anything. I was just like, okay, I'm in this class. This is cool. Those guys look, those guys look awesome.
Nice mask. I like that guy's mask. Great.
Yeah, I mean, no, that's the thing. They were all unmasked. I was like, oh, these guys are cool. They're pretty damn good. It's freaking. It's Virus, Guerrero, Mystico back then. It's just like all these dudes, Volador. And I'm just there, like this 16-year-old kid, 17-year-old kid, like, okay, I could probably do this, like with the best of Lucha Libre that's ever created,
Now, it's hard to get in there, man. They don't respect anyone just walking in. How did you open that door for yourself?
So I was working these big Lucha shows in Chicago at Congress Theater, and a guy by the name of Tarzan Boy, I'm sure you guys are familiar with, who became Toscano later on, took a liking to the show that I was bringing because I would throw tortillas to the crowd and just create like this major heat.
Oh, okay, hold on. Now, I did that one time as a promoter. I booked the Border Patrol in Stockton years ago, and they came out with Oliver John, Derek Sanders, and Zach Reeb, and they threw out tortillas. And at first, I thought it was, oh man, what a heat machine. But I ended up having almost to shut down the show because the fans were so irate. And there was Hell's Angels there, and they were going to shut the show down and stuff. God. And at first I was like, yeah, I finally did it. I finally pulled the trigger on this thing I've always talked about. But then I see other people do it, and like, I guess I just had a rough crowd to do it with. Is that something you did on a regular basis that you got received with like ha over the top? Because out here, man, we got received with like death threats. So how'd that work out for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, it would get pretty intense for sure. A couple of the shows I had to leave out the back entrance, but like, shoot, like I had definitely did not want to see the people that I had saw out there because it was kind of like a rougher looking crowd.
Yeah.
So I would say, hey, listen, like you got to get me out the back way. Like I'm not feeling too safe right now. But I mean, back then, just being a young kid, I just wanted to create the most heat possible, and it got to Tarzan Boy's attention. And he was like, "Oh, if you ever come to Mexico City," he wrote like all these numbers on a piece of paper, because Mexico has like all these numbers.
Right.
And like I kept the piece of paper, and then 6 months later, I graduated high school, and I was like, "All right, I'm going to Mexico City," just like crazily. Right. And I had that piece of paper, and I dialed those numbers, and he answered the phone, man. And I was just in the Guerrero class, bro. I'm just like, "All right, this is great."
That's insane because that class, man, they I mean, there's a lot of levels to the CMLL learning tree, and Guerrero unofficially is one of the, by far a very strict, hardcore, very, very satisfying as far as the results that school, kicks out. Because, I mean, and people talk about on the American side, for those who don't follow Lucha on the independent scene, if you don't follow on the independent scene, you can only imagine. But there's so many talented people in these schools in Mexico that there's tons that never went out to even step into Arena Mexico or AAA or whatever because of I don't know, politics. I mean, we can go into a different story, but a perfect example of that is someone like Bandito. Bandito sat on the underground forever. And there's so many guys that when you walk into these training schools in Mexico, there's some 19-year-old kids who are doing insane stuff, and they'll probably never get an opportunity to actually step into a major ring. But you're out there hoping just to learn lucha. Was your hope to stay in Mexico, or is it just learn the sport and come back here?
Originally, it was to stay in Mexico because I liked the people, the culture, obviously the weather, because I'm from Chicago, so it wasn't the greatest weather up here. But, I mean, I just always have loved the sport as a whole, just as fluid as it looks, the acrobatics, the basing, everything, the costumes, everything about it I've always loved. So, yeah, it was mostly probably just to learn and then eventually come back to the States like I did.
Okay. So when you were out there, is there any luchadors that took you under their wing, like saw your your potential, and was like, I'm going to take this kid under my wing, and I'm going to bring him along and kind of show him the ropes. Because being out there, just, graduated from high school, you're just like going in there feet first. I'm not sure how much Spanish, if at all, you knew at that point in time. But, just going out there, I know it had to be a culture shock, and I know it had to be something to where if you didn't have nobody to bring you along and say, come here, kid, I'm going to take care of you, it could be pretty dangerous, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I first got down there, Tarzan Boy let me stay in his house for like 4 months. You know what I mean?
Well, you lucked out right there. That right there was a blessing, bro, because if you had to stay on the road or in these hotels and stuff, man, you would have actually had a different outlook of lucha. So you were blessed to actually stay in someone's home, and they protected you and stuff. Yeah. So that's great.
Yeah, I agree, but it was down to the very last minute. I caught him backstage, and I was like, thank you for, having me. I went to the my first show ever, if you guys can believe this, was Warrior with the Full House with the Mask versus Mask match.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So he took me to that, and then
that was the end of Black Warrior's career.
I mean, he did nothing after that.
Yeah, and the moment that hood came off, that was it. His career was over.
Yeah, those weird hairstyles he was trying to pull off was
did
not work.
But,
but I mean, it was like I'm in the arena. Like this is a shoot, man. Like I'm in the arena. I'm in a foreign country. I do not speak Spanish, and I just happened to see him leaving like through the back, and I'm like, oh hey man, I don't have anywhere to stay, and I legit didn't. I didn't know like. And I remember it was dark and it was rainy, and I remember those Mexico City streets for the first time. I'm like, dude, like this is bad.
Yeah.
How am I gonna pull this off? Like he has to let me stay with him, otherwise, what am I gonna do?
Right.
And he was like, oh yeah, come with me. And like I got into this tiny car that he had, and it was super like smushed up. But then like we just went to his place, and I stayed there for 3 months.
It
was awesome. Like waking up, and he would just always eat sushi and rice and all this healthy stuff, because he was a bodybuilder. And
wait a minute, wait. Whoa, bro! You went all the way to freaking Mexico City, and you wake up to eating sushi.
Well, that's what he was eating.
No manches, bro! Like, I used to wake up and they would make huevos rancheros, enchiladas. No, we would wake up and eat sushi and sake. What the hell, man?
I got a funny story because I told you about like I didn't speak Spanish at all, so he was trying to tell me like, in Spanish, would you like to eat sushi with crab and a cangrejo? I'm like, I don't know what the hell that is. So he does with his hands and his legs, bro. He starts walking like a crab and doing the fingers like a little crab.
So he starts looking like Greg Naniwa, right? Starts walking around.
And I'm like, oh, you mean crab? He's like, oh yeah, crab. I'm like, oh yeah, we can totally do that, bro.
Yeah, no problem.
But yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, just be careful with
unique experience for sure, man.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah,
absolutely. Hey, so talk to me about the matches out there, man. I mean, you did the lucha training. You were out in Mexico City. How long before after the training they started booking you on these shows, and what kind of shows were you going through? Was it all the independent shows on the outskirts of Mexico City? Talk to me about some of the humble beginnings of your lucha career in terms of matches.
Yeah, so it wasn't the easiest road, man. So I did the CMLL training. Obviously, you guys talked about the politics already, so it was like impossible to get booked. But I started like knocking on AAA's door, and nobody was answering. And then I would go back to CMLL. So then I went to this little arena called Arena Naucalpan, and it had like a little theater feel. I walked in. It's got like carpeted like little entryway. Like it's kind of dingy, but I like it.
No, don't lie. Be real. Papa, I've been there, bro. It ain't no theater feel. That shit feels like a damn dump. Man, I don't care. Don't let them paint this picture. That shit looks like an abandoned theater, right? And when you're walking in and you're like, what the hell? And then you walk in, and then inside you hear all this like commotion and stuff. That thing is still a broken down, arena and stuff to this day. Nothing's really changed. But unfortunately, even though it's located in that tough area, and it has a bad rap for a lot of things, it is a very famous arena in comparison. Obviously, it doesn't compare to Arena Mexico, the cathedral, but it's a very a secondary, I don't know how else to explain it, but it is a popular arena. But if you go there, you better be prepared to be the roads are rough. If you leave after dark and you don't have a ride, you better have someone with you. You better have someone that you can trust, because that area, it is an absolute nightmare if you're not a part of that regular scene. Am I off?
No, you're not off. It's rough, man. And I've had to take combis from there for like 7 pesos trying to get to my
hells no.
Trying to get to my apartment in Foreverland.
Yeah.
Like it would be so far away.
Yeah, and it's funny though. You go Mexico City to Naucalpan, it's about a half-hour drive roughly, right? And that half-hour drive, Papa, I'm telling you, bro, it's like you're going into like I don't know. It's day and night. It's almost like a cartoon. Like they just pulled a curtain and go. And you go, what the hell? The streets change, the buildings change, the way the culture looks change. It's almost a stereotype of what people assume that Mexico is. It's rough out there, bro. And when we did a show out there, when we were out there with Jungle Boy and Panda and all, man, I tell you what, at first we're like, oh, this is great. They shot Nacho Libre here, all that stuff.
Right.
Once it turned nighttime, bro, we're like, holy shit, how do we get out of here? I was like, you know what I mean? It's
and you know what? After
scary.
A certain time, man, the taxi stopped running too.
And
So it was scary.
when we got dropped off, the Uber driver told us, all right, guys, it was fun talking with you guys. You guys were fun. Uber does not work in this area after a certain time. So I would recommend you guys get a rent a car. I'm like, rent a car? He goes, yeah, we don't come over here at all. Like, we won't do it. So we actually had to pay the Uber driver a retainer to actually come back and pick us up that night because otherwise we'd have no way home. You know, and my brother, rest in peace, Silver King, I love him to death and stuff, but he was like, brother, he's like, stay in the arena and I'll come back and pick you up. I was like, oh, hells no. I'm probably more afraid to stay in the arena than outside, so I'll go ahead and just take this Uber and call it a day.
Well, that's your stuff, man. Yeah, absolutely. He's right. He's right about everything he said.
Yeah, so I'll speak for Gabe on this one because I've heard this story several times. He did do a show out there, and we took guys like Jungle Boy, Royce Isaacs, and a couple other guys, and man, it was rough for them because just that the luchadors out there ended up taking liberties on some of our guys because I believe, just from the stories I hear, and again, Gabe, go ahead and interject if I'm wrong, but I believe that they were they were threatened and they were pissed off that these guys were even coming in there and taking spots of the other guys, and for that we were going to pay.
Yeah, and the thing is that I if you guys really want to know who was involved, you guys can go look up the match. But when we got there, you could already feel the negativity. So, myself being, my parents were born in Jalisco. I'm born in California. Some people say I don't look Spanish or don't look whatever the stereotype of what Mexican stands for. I guess I don't look like it. So we had a little bit heat going on because they had taken off some of the talent off the show to put us on. And Silver King had had worked a program out that we're going to be going back and forth during the program. And once we got in that locker room, the moment I walked in, I could feel the heat from that little, when you first walk in the left-hand side and there's a little bathroom, you could see eyes from the creases, from the doors, from, everything, man. And the moment I walked in, I was like, man, I can't wait for this to be over. You know what I mean? Because we talked about the hype of how great it was going to be doing Naucalpan. Last night we did Arena Mexico. We did Dragomania. We did this. We did that. What a weekend. Da-da-da. And the moment we walked in is the moment we went, shit. We shouldn't have done this. And they took liberties with the talent. I actually was front row trying to, because I did not want to stay in the locker room. And they stole our belt. They took our belt from ringside and ran off with it. We eventually found it. They had hidden it in the popcorn in front of the building where you walk into the theater. There's the snack shack right there. They had put it underneath the merchandise there. They changed the booking on us. They threw a VCR at Jungle Boy. They threw a chair at Border Patrol's face. And they actually burnt the American flag on us, thinking it was all in good heat. And it was one of the most ridiculous, disgusting experiences I think I've ever been a part of. And I was saddened because the mere fact that, that we had brought in American talent through the right channels, we got treated like absolute garbage. But yet when we bring talent here on luchador-wise, at least speaking for me, we open the red carpet and treat them out of respect. So it was something I'll never forget, man. And I remember making that trip upstairs to the boss's office and having that conversation where maybe I shouldn't have said what I said, but as I walked back down those stairs, I was I was looking over my shoulder, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, my question to you, Charles, is were you experiencing some of those types of scenarios when you were out there at the IWRG? And if so, give us some stories, man. Give us some insight on what you went through just trying to cut your teeth in that particular area. Are you there?
Yeah, I think we might have lost him for a bit. Well, while he does return, that's something that it's a very weird world, Papa. Like when we go out there, and I say we as a talent from the United States, and we go to Mexico or anywhere. I can't speak for Japan, but at least when we go to Mexico, there's always that feeling that like, oh man, you guys are taking a spot from my friend. And the thing is that what we're not used to on our end here is, at least speaking on the independent level, because what people have to understand is when we go out there or talent goes out there and you get to work a major show, whether it be AAA, CMLL, Crash, whatever, is the way they look at it. It's like us. It's like an NXT or AAW or whatever, WWE. They bring in outside talent, and when you bring somebody in, that means someone on the roster is not going to work that night, right? But they're not under contracts like you would say, hey, well, you know what? I got a 2-year contract. Whether you use me or not, I'm getting paid, right? Well, out there, it's a bit different. So the mere fact that we were out there right away, it's like their friends or brothers or whatever it is, they're out there to make sure that you're not going to stay there and take their spots.
Yeah, that's crazy though, because like for me, I've never had the honor of working in Mexico, and I hope to do so before I'm all said and done.
Don't worry, bro. It's 2027 is the return year to Lucha League.
But you're right. 2027. Hell yeah, I'm on the way. I'll make sure I'm in a position to do so by then. But what I was going to say is and this was directed towards Charles. What's up, man? You're back.
Yeah, man. Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, so we were talking about, just the liberties and the, I don't know, I want to say favoritism, because honestly, man, for me, it's like in our area, I don't think Gabe or any other promoter or any other worker for that matter would be super pissed off if we brought people in from the outside, because it happens all the time. We'd like to welcome people in with open arms, but over there it's a super different scenario. So I wanted you to talk to us about your experience, like the one that Gabe just explained of IWRG, and how just the liberties that they would take on the talent. And I don't want to say
yeah. I mean, some of these guys, man, when you're the new guy coming in, you're definitely getting a lot of looks, and then you're getting better positions, better matches than they've been working like years to get that position, Yep. So it's like they think that you're obviously getting tested all the time, so they're trying to hit you a little harder and trying to kick you in the face when they shouldn't be. So I didn't take any of that. I knew that I wasn't doing anything wrong. I'm doing what the promoter's saying. So I would just hit them harder if they were to hit me hard in the first place. So you gotta be careful with that, because people are just trying to look out for their own spots and their own livelihood. You know what I mean? Some of those guys just wrestle for a living, and no Galpan, you cannot support a family on that salary.
No. But one thing though, before you go deeper into your story, but when we were being trained with Skyve, and I'm sure the same thing happened with you, he would because we've under our learning tree at Revolution, I've had trainers from Super Crazy, Juventud Guerrera, obviously Skyve, and also Lady Apache, who was out here up until COVID, stopped all of this, and the lady was with us for almost a year. But this is a scenario that when we're doing lucha, is that they would stop and explain, because I'd ask them, why are you changing it to this? We've always learned it this way. Why is it this way? And Skyve and Lady and Hoovy, and they all would have the same answer, is you have to do it this way in case the guy you're working with tries to take your knee out, or tries to take your ankle out, or tries to snap your neck. And we're like, what? Like, I thought we're working with each other. And they're like, well, yeah, but at the same time, you might be taking up their friend, their brother, their sister, their whatever spot. And so you have to protect yourself. So that right there is insane. Like, that's absolutely insane. I also had something similar when Gangrel used to use our ring many years ago, and he was still living out here. And he was showing someone he was training on headlock takedown. And we were always taught to do a headlock takedown a certain way, grab the head, curtsy, go over. But he didn't have a curtsy. He took the curtsy out, and he was doing a straight shoot takeover like a judo takedown. And I asked him, I said, brother, why do you do it that way? We were taught this way. Were we taught wrong? He goes, no, you weren't taught wrong. He said, but the way you were taught is you weren't taught for someone to take your knee out and end your career. And we're like, oh, holy shit. So that's something that I didn't even stop to ever think of, So for you, you're saying you're getting potato, you're getting, cemento laid in and stuff. How did you handle? Because if you give that receipt, that could be your ass in the locker room. Because if they're beating each other up in their own locker rooms, there's nothing to say that they're not going to knock your ass out or whatever. How did you handle those stiff shots and those kicks in the face? Because trust me, I see it when I've been there in Mexico on multiple occasions. I've seen it from all angles. I've been to TJ, I've done Mexico City, and I've seen it. They do it to each other and they do it to us. But for them, it goes away. They fight each other and they call it a day. But for us, they take a liberty. We're like, well, when am I going to see him again? And they pop you in the face because they feel they have an entire locker room that has their back. How did you proceed? What goes through your head going, shit, this guy just kicked me in the freaking tooth. I'm bleeding up a storm. What am I going to do? But that's something, Papa, that it's something I wish, we could talk to other people and something to keep in mind because, obviously he's gone out there, but it's something, that happens a lot. And maybe, it's something part of the culture that I'm not accustomed to, but I tell you what, brother, when we were out there, it was something that we were like, dude, I can't believe this just happened, and we had the same experience, in Mexico in different arenas and it happened and we didn't know what to do. And luckily I have, because for me as a mentor, you always want to have a mentor that's going to take care of you and explain to you what happens. And for me, luckily, Rey Bucanero, is a guy that's very well respected in Mexico, at least in the wrestling scene, speaking that of. And I said, brother, this happened. He goes, hold on, relax, you know what I mean? Yeah. Tell me what happened, and it's something that we always got to prepare for. On the indie scene, I don't think we see that very much because, we're not working for a living. It's not a day-to-day job for us. For us, it's like, I got booked on a show and I'll work a Thursday or I'll work a Saturday. But in Mexico, they're working, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, twice on Sunday. So it's something that we have to prepare for. But how do you prepare for that, Papo? How do you prepare for going to a show as opposed to going, oh, dude, I'm stoked, I'm pumped, I can't wait to work so-and-so?
That's a great question. We'll direct that towards Charles, man. Gringo Loco, hey, man. How do you prepare for that? You're in Mexico City. You're living it. You're going out there and you're working this talent. How do you prepare for the potential for somebody to, take liberties on you or try to take you out so that they can open up a spot for somebody else? Was that something that you had to deal with, in the early parts and even now in your career?
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely before. Not so much now. It's a lot nicer world. Everybody's trying to be correct and do the right thing and say nice things. It's a very nicer world. I think you guys can agree with that. Come on, bro. You can't really say anything or do anything. You can't
fart no more, man. And then you're gonna. No one knows if you said excuse me. Yeah. You believe that guy's gonna say excuse me? He has no manners. And next thing you know, it's #no manners, and your world's over. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you lose all your bookings because you farted, bro. You're really trying to lose money over a fart, bro, because I'm not, dude. But, back then, I was talking to Kendo.
Tumbo.
I know you guys know who Kendo is. Yeah, so we were in his studio where he makes all his gear and stuff, and he was telling us all these crazy-ass stories. There's a reason why they train like that and why they have all those shoot maneuvers, in the back of their pocket whenever they need. Because he would go out and the guy would try to fuck with him, and then in the back he would get knives and guns pulled on him, bro. and he would have to know how to get out of that. Otherwise, he was going to die, dude. Like, there's a reason why those guys have those, and there's a reason why we don't necessarily have them in this generation, because we're just out there foo-fooing around half the time anyway, and just trying to be nice and not hit too hard. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of that fire that's missing in today's wrestling, I think, because people are just trying to be too nice. But back then, people were fighting for their lives. Like, if Kendo was, like, the most over dude in Japan, people wanted to kill him, bro. Like, legit in the ring, they were trying to, like, strangle him out so he wouldn't be able to do the cool spots. It was the stories were unbelievable.
Well, hashtag Kendo for stiffing me on all the gear from my boys and stealing their money.
Oh my gosh!
Oh, sorry. I don't know.
That's another story.
Oh, what? So we
know what happens.
We gotta say the truth, right? I mean, the fact that he took all the guys' money, made the gear, never sent it out, and then all of a sudden he forgot how to use a cell phone, forgot how to use Facebook, and you know what I mean. So yeah, these guys are hustlers, man. You know, they do steal and rob and cheat and shit. But yeah, hashtag Kendo. Gracias por no pagar los pinches equipos y nos robó todo. Gracias. Thank you.
So, hey man, at that point in time, were you Gringo Loco at that point in time, or you were under your real name? Like, what led you to become known as the bass god Gringo Loco?
Oh, okay. So the bass.
Just
a couple years, but the Gringo Loco thing happened because.
Yeah, you're there.
Can you hear me?
You're there.
Oh yeah, we hear you. Yeah.
Hello. Okay, God. I'm like, not again. The bass god thing is fairly new, but the Gringo Loco thing happened because the Esco. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Your phone's cutting in and out, brother.
Oh man, this phone thing is the worst thing ever, bro.
So, your trainers in Chicago were the ones that gave you that name?
Yeah, because they thought that I had a similarity of work and look to Art Barr, but I didn't know who Art Barr was at the time, so I just kind of ran with the name Gringo Loco. And the bass god thing is fairly new. It just came around a couple years ago. Just going for a different direction, trying to figure out the new wrestling world that we're in today.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that, because the original Gringo Loco was Art Barr, and I was trying to, see if maybe that was an inspiration for you growing up, but I like to ask the luchadors and the wrestlers that come on this show, the matches that they had where the fireworks started going off. I want you to talk about the matches that really set the tone for you to be who you are today. Like, for me, I always like to say that, in order for us to get better, you got to have someone in the ring that's better than you working with. So, do you have any matches that you would list as the matches where the fireworks would start going off, and you kind of understood, the inner workings of the ring and matches and how to call it and all that?
Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of wars with the Cerebros, Dr. Cerebro, Black Terry, Cerebro Negro, man. Those guys, bro, we've had some bloody ass matches. So, I mean, in terms of like learning how to be like a rabid dog and not really care about how hard you're getting hit, Black Terry definitely showed that to me. And like, I remember, I'll never forget. We got a packed house in Ocalpan. We're like semi-main, and he looks at me. He was like, "Gringo, I want you to hit me as hard as you can." When we're out there, I was like, "Man, all right." Like, I was scared. He's like, "Because if you don't, I'm gonna hit you 10 times harder." And I was like, "Oh shit, this is for real, bro!" Like, I have to hit this leathery chest of this man that I'm scared of. But he really like brought that out of me. Like, I realized how much rage I actually had inside when I was hitting that guy in the chest, And then in terms of like working, working the cool spots in the matches where they should go, that was definitely all DJZ. Later on in my career, when I met him, like, he was able to like take my crazy ideas and have them make sense. More so than if I would have just thrown them in together with no logic or anything. A lot of the AAW Mayhem tag matches that we had in Cleveland, they were fantastic. I mean, so many, like the recent GCW one we just had at the All Out after show or whatever it was that weekend. That was a really good one. I mean, there's some magical stuff that keeps me in the business, you know what I mean? I definitely got to give my hats off to some of the guys
that you've been in the ring with.
No Kid and KTV and No Fidian. Yeah. I mean, you're only as good as your opponent, you know what I mean? Because I can make you look like $1 million, but if you can't do it, then what are we going to do?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So in your time in Absolute Intense Wrestling, you know, you mentioned DJZ. You were working and tag teaming with Skyday Jr., right? You were working with Bandolero. I mean, you got any good, you know, moments and stories working with a lot of the different dudes that are in Lucha as well, you know, that would help you, you know, that would have helped you get better and actually, you know, further your career? Because like when I met you, not met you, but when I discovered you, I mean, I think you were just really hitting your stride as Gringo Loco, right? Yeah. I mean, you were probably like a year away from MLW, and you know, you were calling yourself a base god, and I would watch, you know, things on YouTube about training, about, you know, you training guys and going through spots and stuff. I mean, it looked like you were like solid. I want to know, you know, what helped you get there. I know you just kind of listed off a whole, you know, laundry list of names, but I want to know exactly what, you know, types of matches and what types of additional training that got you to that part where you were like really hitting your stride.
Oh, it was absolutely those training videos. That was like the launching pad for everything that happened afterwards. It's all DJZ, man. All of it was his motivation. You know, I would be down on myself and wanting to quit the wrestling business or whatever, and he would just talk me out of it. Like, dude, you can do this. You just have to be patient, you know. And it just takes a little bit of a kick in the ass. Would be usually with things and anything. And he was the key to all of it. You know, the training videos definitely put me on the map because we were doing these crazy things that nobody'd ever seen before. And, you know, I mean, that gets people's attention. You know what I mean? Like, if it's new and innovative, people are going to want to know about it. So, you know, and then that led me down the pasture of just so many different opportunities. I mean, really, that's where MLW came from because of those videos and just getting the opportunities and being ready for them. You know,
I got you, man. So the name, the base guy. You know, was that something that was dubbed on you, or was that something that you came up with yourself? Because I got to say, man, just watching these videos of you running through spots with people inside the ring in a training scenario and setting, even in the ring, you know, your base is solid, man. I mean, you're also very agile. So, I mean, you're running both sides of the gamut. Would you say that, you know, learning how to base really helped you get the trust and the attention of a lot of people, and that's why you got called the base god? Or
the term base god actually happened with a conversation me and DJZ were having. Like, we were watching the monsters of CMLL, like just these big dudes, Guerrero, Euphoria, you know, guys like that, and like they never dropped anybody.
That's a cardinal
So
rule,
we're
bro.
like-
You cannot drop that fly, bro. That's the moneymaker. You know what I mean? You can't drop those guys. I mean, that's your ass. You have one job. Don't drop the fly.
Yeah, but like in any scenario, and it was fascinating. I was like, you know what, man? These guys. And then he turns to me. He's like, you ever dropped anybody? And I was like, nah, bro. He's like, I think you're a base guy too. I was like, oh, shit. So I just kind of ran with it, you know?
See, just imagine if you would have said yes. You would never have that gimmick.
Hell no.
That's
I
crazy.
have dropped somebody, and then it would just be like this Gringo Loco
Right?
thing.
You know what I
So,
mean? It's
yeah.
a base god with a little hashtag, a little asterisk going, yeah, but he dropped that one guy a long time ago.
Well, let's talk about MLW real quick. I mean, so how did MLW come about, man? I know that's TV tapings, and I know, you know, that's a. I mean, yeah, to me, it's a big thing with all that's going on right now with the NWA resurgence, with Ring of Honor starting to gain ground again, Impact starting to gain ground again, you know, AEW, now MLW. You know, talk to me about how that came about and what that means to you. You know what I mean? Are you still signed? Are you still working for them? I know they have the rebirth coming, so.
Yeah, the restart is coming. Yeah, I'm still under contract for another year and a half. MLW, the whole thing was crazy because I knew I was making some kind of noise because Alex Shelley, before he came back, like until, you know, he was gone for a long time. He hit me up on the DM and he was like, hey man, if you're ever interested in like Ring of Honor, like I could definitely put in the word. And I was like, whoa, dude, like that's insane. Like Ring of Honor could be in my future. Literally the next week, I was in Vegas just kind of messing around for a birthday or whatever. And I get a phone call saying, hey, MLW wants you for this Thursday. Like, it was Wednesday, bro. They wanted me for the next day. And I'm
I was
like,
like, come, it
okay.
was like, yo, I need you to come tomorrow, right?
I
That's how it
mean,
went?
they were like, yeah, we have an opportunity. I was like, oh man, like I was supposed to be in Vegas till Friday.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, well, I guess we're changing flights and we are getting on a plane and hopefully landing on time tomorrow for the show. So I somehow made that show and had a really good showing with Marco Stunt, actually, who's phenomenal. I love that guy.
Yeah, shout out to Marco Stunt. Yeah.
He's fantastic. And I like from that day, I got asked to sign the contract. And then when they had their Miami dates, they were like, "Yeah, come on down to Miami for the 2 dates if you're interested in signing with us." And I said, "Oh shit, okay, well, I'm definitely going to Miami. Let me see what they have to offer, you know." And that's how it happened. It was pretty. It was like it's a whirlwind. It was crazy. It was just like, wow, this is all happening. And actually, the first tapings, I didn't have an entrance, so my entrance was dark. So I was in the ring before they went live. It was like the best 3.5 minutes of my entire career. Like I don't even know. I've never been to Miami for wrestling or anything like that. These people somehow knew of me, and they were the wildest 3.5 minutes of my career, bro. I'll never forget it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Let's talk about the base god for a second. I know we touched on it before, but I wanted to talk to you from a training aspect. You know, I saw a lot of the training videos online. You said that you were a trainer and or you trained people before, and that we kind of overstepped that. Let's talk about the training aspect, man. I mean, I know we're shut down now, so a lot of the training and working out is kind of scarce. You know, it's here and there. But before the pandemic happened, man, was you on a training grind, man? Was you just getting in there and trying to help people get better and you know, I mean, show people how to base and you know, just help the flies get better with their aerial maneuvers and such?
So yeah, you know, it's funny, man. Going back to the Escobedo brothers, like I saw how important training was. I mean, my entire career, I felt like I've never had a real stint where I've stopped training for any reason. Like I've always been consistent, but then when I had to step into the head trainer role, it was different for me because now I'm actually helping people as opposed to people showing me stuff. So I actually got a pretty big joy out of it, teaching people how to base and instilling that how important it is to take care of the guy that you're working with, especially if he's going to dive over the top rope and like hope that you catch him. Like it's all on you, you know? And I got a really good student now who's really coming into his own. It's called Golden Dragon. He's been wrestling since he's been like 13 years old. And now he's a little older and you can see like his mannerisms and the way that he does things. He knows the importance of what he's doing. He's never dropped anybody in front of me. I always watch his matches if he's not in the ring with me. And I mean, knowing how far he's come, I've taken him to a lot of the good dates that I've had. Like I took him up to Super Kicked in Toronto, which is a really hot crowd with just an amazing atmosphere. And he killed it, you know, because he was in the ring with me. He was confident. He knew what he was doing. So it was a real satisfaction after that match because he had taken everything I had showed him until that point, utilized it, and it pulled it off brilliantly. And I was like, wow, man, that was because of me. That's pretty damn awesome. And you came to Toronto with me, and we're on like our, you know, wrestling road trip. So hell yeah.
It's gonna be satisfying when you see him start to gain ground and start to make his own name without, you know, you having to bring him places and whatnot.
Absolutely.
Who knows?
Oh, I can't wait.
Who knows where he's gonna go? I'll check him out, man. What's his name again? Golden Dragon.
Golden Dragon. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is he out of Chicago too?
Out of Chicago. Yeah.
So let me ask you this, man. Do you see the Chicago scene as lineage in terms of something that you have to uphold? I mean, you got a lot of guys coming out of Chicago. I mean, to name two notable ones, you know, you got Colt Cabana, you got CM Punk, you know, and then even going back, you know, in the day, you know, you got so many other people that came out of Chicago, man. Do you see that as lineage, as like, man, you know, not only am I trying to pave my own way as Gringo Loco, but, you know, I also want to represent Chicago to the fullest and make sure that, you know, I can fall in line and be held in the same conversation with these cats, man, someday.
Oh, absolutely, man. I love this city. I'm born and raised from here. I don't think that I'll ever like reside anywhere else. I mean, this is the city, man. I'll go to visit any place in the world, but I always got to come back home. I got to hold it in high regard, man. Especially if I have the Chicago title on the name of Gringo Loco, I got to make sure that it looks good. Absolutely.
Okay. What are your goals and aspirations coming back from the pandemic? I know we've been down for a very, very long time. I would say, I don't know, probably closer to 8 months now. And, like you said, MLW is going to have the restart. And if you're still under contract, obviously we're going to be able to have the honor of seeing you work again. What are your aspirations in MLW and beyond, man? I mean, do you have any common goals that you want to achieve, as soon as we get back to it and we're able to get some, make up some ground?
Yeah, I mean, I just want people to be like, wow, he's better than ever. Look at this guy. He was good before, but now he's great. I don't really have any aspirations. I never really had any aspirations in wrestling. I just kind of gone with the flow for 16, 17 years. It's just like, MLW called, so I got to go there. This certain lucha company in New York called, so I got to go there, and they're all really cool shots, but now that you mention it, I should probably make a goal for when everything comes back to normal.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Hey,
Japan would be one goal.
Oh yeah,
wrestling.
Japan would be
I've
good.
been to Japan just for leisure, and I saw a New Japan show over there. It was pretty cool. But to be called over to anything in Japan, I mean, that would be pretty awesome.
Yeah, that seems to be the topic of conversation when I ask this question, because Japan is like you don't just have New Japan, you got All Japan, you got Dragon Gate, I think Noah's still out there, you got a lot of different promotions that are actually really, really cool. I would like to go there one day, so I share the same aspiration. All right, man. Shit. Before we go, before we get to that, I wanted to say this, man. Just to finish it up, I want to work you one day. I don't know if you don't know me from Adam, but I am the King Fat Boy Papa Wesco, and I'm doing it out here in the West Coast. Just before the pandemic, I was getting ready to make my way out, to different areas, and I plan on doing that still.
Let's do it, man.
So one day, man, I hope this starts a beautiful friendship, brother, and you and I keep in touch, and one day when we get back to it, we can get it on in the ring, man. You the bass god. I'll say I'm the bass king because I could bass pretty goddamn good too.
Hell yeah, man.
So
that's
maybe
what's up, bro. Hey, I appreciate
also,
your kind words, man.
Yeah, for sure, man. No, but all right, man. Hey, before we go, I like people to get their self over and make sure that their social media is sent to everybody so they can check you out. Why don't you go ahead and let everybody know your social medias?
Sure, man. Twitter is Gringo Loco OG, and then the Instagram is I am Bass God _ in between the words, and Charlie Santo on Facebook if you're into that. And that's about it.
All right, man. Shit. On behalf of the podcast, on behalf of Gabe Ramirez, on behalf of Gringo Loco, I am your master of ceremonies, King Fat Boy Papa Wesco. Man, we are out. And just like that, mi gente, that is all she wrote. Huge shout out and mad respect to the bass god Gringo Loco for pulling up to straight out of the bodega for the sit down. We had some connection issues, man. It happens. What can I say? But we powered through it and we got it done. Overall, great conversation. We're going to have this man back on real soon with MLW having the restart. He's going to get it popping once again. And I know he's going to start ripping and running throughout the United States one more time. So we'll have you back soon, brother. Until then, you stay safe and you stay healthy. Well, that's all the time we got. We'd like to thank you for listening, and we know you're listening from somewhere. So get on social media and let us know what podcast platform you're using to listen to every single episode of Straight Out of the Bodega. Is it Spreaker? Is it Spotify? Is it Apple Podcast? Is it iTunes? Is it iHeartRadio? Is it a podcast platform we ain't heard of yet? We won't know unless you get on social media and let us know. Also, let us know how we're doing. We don't do this for us, man. We do this for you. So we need to know if we're doing good, if we're doing bad, who you want to hear on a future episode, whatever the case may be, man. Just talk to us. We talk back. Speaking of which, you can't talk to us or find us unless you check us out on social media. So check us out. That's Straight Out of the Bodega on Instagram, Straight Out of the Bodega on Facebook, and on Twitter, the @ is STR8OUTDABODEGA, Straight Out the Bodega on Twitter. If you got time, check me out. Check the King Fat Boy out on social media too. That's Papo Esco on Instagram, Papo Esco on Facebook, Papo_Esco on Twitter. Well, that's all I got, man. I ain't got nothing more. So tune in next week for more interviews, more pro wrestling, more entertainment, and more straight out of the bodega. On behalf of the podcast, I am your master of ceremonies, the King Fat Boy, Papo Esco, and we're out. We'll see y'all next week.
Ever had a dream of becoming a pro wrestler? Or maybe your dream is becoming a pro wrestling manager, referee, ring announcer, or commentator. If you're ready to turn your dream into reality, then Pro Wrestling Revolution Training Academy is for you. Northern California's premier pro wrestling training academy. Pro Wrestling Revolution Training Academy is located in San Jose, California, and with over 24 years of experience, we specialize in all areas, from lucha libre, American style, ring psychology, industry etiquette, and much more. You'll be welcomed into a family environment where our head trainer, Hall of Famer, the Brown Bomber, Robert Thompson, and our training staff will start you on your journey and fully prepare you to get in the ring and make your dream a reality. Past trainees include AAW's Jungle Boy, UFC World Champion and WWE star Cain Velasquez, the King Fat Boy, Papo Esco, and many more. Be the next star. Contact Pro Wrestling Revolution Academy now. Call 408-728-8318. Visit our Facebook page or go to prowrestling-revolution.com/training and make your dream a reality.